Blog Talk Radio.
You are listening to Shriekfest Radio. Good evening and welcome to Shriekfest Radio. This is Denise Gossett and I am the festival founder and director and your hostess for the night. Shriekfest is a horror, thriller, sci-fi, fantasy film festival, screenplay competition, and we even have a music video category. It is Women in Horror Month. February is Women in Horror Month, so give all your ladies in horror big hugs this month and appreciate them. Let's see, Shriekfest LA is October 4th through the 7th, and Shriekfest Orlando is October 20th. So mark those dates in your calendar. Even if you aren't submitting this year, make sure you come on out and support and enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. There's parties and networkings and wonderful films and all that good stuff. We are celebrating 18 years in Los Angeles and 2 in Orlando. Our website is shriekfest.com. We're on Twitter and Facebook. Come give us a like and a follow. Shriekfest Radio has been on the air for 5 years. This is the 174th show. The next Shriekfest Presents is Friday the 13th in April. And it will be Friday the 13th, Part 2. So mark your calendars. We started doing these last year in association with New Art Theater. And we do classic horror film screenings at midnight. So make sure you mark your calendar and check that out. Let's see. Hold on one second. Tonight's guest, which I'm super excited about, is Greg Mazzola, and he was an official. He had a film in the festival last year, a short film called Play Day, and I'm super excited to be chatting with him. Great short film. Greg is a director, writer, producer, editor, production coordinator, production manager, sound. He's done a little bit of everything. And I'm not seeing him on the line yet. So let's see what's going on. Let me see if I can hunt him down. Greg, we're waiting for you. Let me send him a little message here. All right, so we're going to get him on the line here very soon. We're going to chat about his short film, Play Day, which was in Shriekfest 2017, short program. Anyway, while we wait to see what's going on with him, I can chat about more Shriekfest things. So we have Shriekfest TV, which is on YouTube. Do a search for it. Come subscribe. We have some really cool things on there. We have past films. We have past trailers. We have commercials from Shriekfest Commercial Contest. We have vlogs that I've been doing on basically the ins and outs and do's and don'ts of submitting to festivals. We have Q&As on there from Shriekfest Presents and from the past festivals. We have interviews on there of past filmmakers, and we're just going to keep adding to it. We are currently adding past Shriekfest Radio on there as well. So it's a plethora of information about filmmaking and all wonderful things like that. So definitely check it out. Lots of great information on there. Okay, I'm not quite sure why Greg is not calling in. I hope he is okay. Let me send him another message. Gregory, if you're listening, we need you to call in. All right, so I just sent him another one. Let me see if I can call out. Nope, he's... All right, let's see. I think it might let me call out. Let's try. So sorry about this, guys. We were just confirmed this, too, today, so I'm not sure what's going on. I hope he's okay. All right, let me see if I can dial this number. Nope, it's not going through. The studio won't let me. All right. Let's see. Let me pull him up on Facebook and see if I can get a hold of him that way, too. Okay. Okay, I think we have him. Greg, is that you?
Hi. Hey, Denise.
Hey, excellent. Oh, my goodness, I was starting to worry because I introduced you and I didn't see you call in, so I sent you a few emails, panicked.
Sorry about that. Finally connected and ready to go.
Okay, I can't hear you. What's going on?
Hey, how about now? Is that good?
Okay, there we go.
Awesome. So what's going on? How are you?
Everything okay?
Everything is excellent.
Okay, all right. You had me worried. I thought, I'm a worrier, so I immediately went to, car accident or something crazy, so I'm glad you are safe.
I'm a high school wrestling referee, and I was running late at a match, and I'd just gotten back a couple minutes ago. Sorry about that.
Oh, my goodness. Well, how'd it go?
Very good. It's all about the kids. I like to give something back whenever I can, and I'm very attracted to the sport of wrestling because I've been doing it my whole life. So I found it out here in California too. Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. What age did you start doing that?
Oh man, my dad taught us what a drop step was, which is the first wrestling move ever back when I was in kindergarten. And I fell in love with it back in first grade kindergarten even.
Oh my gosh.
Been with
That's really cool.
Since. Yeah. Unknown factor.
Do you think you will do a film on that sometime?
It's funny you should say that. I've seen all the greats, Vision Quest and was a Foxcatcher. I saw Foxcatcher not too long ago again. They were great. I like to see wrestling done well because it's easy to screw it up in the movies. You can tell when it's fake.
Sure.
And then I actually had a chance to do one on a crime show this season, this past year, on a show. And I took it real seriously. Yeah, I took it real serious. The whole crew was like, wow, this guy must really have something about wrestling. Because I made sure everything was real and perfect. We hired another wrestler that was real. So,
nice.
Yeah, I like to see when it's done right. So, yeah, I think I would definitely at some point do a wrestling movie or something along those lines.
Wonderful. Well, I was telling our listeners how you have basically done everything: directing, writing, producing, editing, sound, production coordinator, production manager, a little bit of everything. What speaks to you the most?
That's a great question. It took all of those positions to figure it out, actually.
Really?
I started as a PA, and someone said stay open-minded so you can find out what you want to do. So I did PA, I did coordinator, I did production manager. Then right around line producer, I started to be like, okay, what do I really, really want to do? And then I did figure out that I like controlling the money, and then with that comes some creative control,
Sure.
So as the line producer, you get to decide all the major factors, and then you work right hand in hand with the showrunner, who's got the creative control and the vision, so to speak. So you're directly helping the vision come true. So I love line producing, but then that kind of led me to directing, and it didn't have enough creative for me. And I'm a writer and a director, and I just felt like I was holding back my creative. So I used my line producing experience and knowledge and kind of used what I could to get into directing. And I started reading books and becoming more creative. And eventually I figured out that directing is definitely the apex for me. You know,
excellent.
It combines. Oh, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead, please.
I was just going to say it combines everything because you need to know art, you need to know logistics, you need to know people, you need to know the vision, and you need to put that all together in an artistic form and then keep people involved in the story. So, and that's another thing I'm trying to learn is storycraft. So
excellent.
it's a never-ending journey.
Right. It's like being at school, constantly learning.
Exactly what it is. And I love it. You know, you have to learn every day.
That's great. Now, Greg, okay, so you started out as a PA. What made you want to get on a set in the first place?
So, I'll tell you exactly what happened. I was in college, and I needed to take some sort of artistic course to graduate, and I took a music class, and it was so boring. I thought we were going to be playing instruments, and it was not. It was this one lady standing at the front of the class just telling us about instruments, and we never got to do anything. So then I dropped that class, and I accidentally took an acting class, and I loved it. Oh, I had to. So I fell into an acting class, and originally I was like, oh, I guess I'll take this, you know, whatever, just to get through it. And I just absolutely fell in love with it. And I was like, what have I been doing my whole life? I've just blocked this whole portion of the world out that I didn't know existed. So I took a bunch of more acting classes. Then I took a stagecraft class, then a theater appreciation class, and then finally a directing class. And I was like, wow, this is what I want to do. I want to be in this realm. So I called my uncle, who used to be a producer out in L.A. when he was younger. He still does the thing from time to time. And I was like, I want to be an actor. What do I do? And he was like, no, you don't want to be an actor. You want to be a producer. And then if you want to cast yourself in your own movie, do that. And I was like, wow, you know, that resonated with me because I went to business school and I watched my parents and my uncles be entrepreneurs their whole lives. So I was like, okay, go out, make my own movie. If I want to cast myself, I will. And now that I'm out here doing it, I know very well not to cast myself because I'm not a good actor.
Why? Why?
Well, I could be for sure, but I chose to be on the other side of the camera for a reason. I mean, I love that little that little rectangle, man, is everything. I just love watching it come to life, and I trust that there are thousands of other actors out there 10 times better than me that I could work with to bring it to life. And that's what I want to do. I love communicating with actors and like giving them a small tip and then watching them run with it on the screen and bring it to life. You know, I worked with so many good actors that make me look good, and that's the best part.
Do you miss acting at all?
Oh, for sure. I truly believe too that to be a good director and a producer, you have to know what the actor is thinking. You have to know what they're going through on the field of battle out there because
sure.
They have arguably the toughest job. They have to pretend to be emotional through a bunch of stuff and then have it be real. They have to sell it. So, you have to be delicate with actors and you have to be very aware of what they're going through. So I plan on taking much more acting classes than I already have, I plan on getting in the minds of actors and seeing how they work so that I could be a better director and producer.
I love to hear that, Greg, because, as an actor myself, I've worked with so many directors, and there are quite a few that basically they just show up and expect you to do everything, and they don't say anything to you. So I think it's great that you're doing all that.
Yeah, it's tough to show up to an actor and say, okay, now cry at this scene, cry harder, cry less. It's tough to just yell at an actor, and that'd be like someone coming up and be like, direct better, do this camera angle better.
Right. What do you mean direct better? In what way?
Exactly.
No, I think that's great. So I want to talk about Playday because obviously that's how we met, and Playday is awesome. Okay, so Sophia Rose wrote it, and you guys are partnered up. How did you guys meet?
Well, actually, a funny story. A long time ago, we kind of bumped into each other, very serendipitously. It's a whole other long story in itself.
Really?
But we started doing actually, it's kind of a little hero story. 2 years ago, we entered Shriekfest with a film called Beverly. Who is Beverly?
Yes.
And yours, Shriekfest was the one film festival we were trying to get into, and we fell a little short. So I took a bunch of information from everyone that watched it, and I was like, where did it fall short? What did you like? What didn't you like? And we were like, okay, we got to go back next year with a bigger and better film. So we did that. One day she woke up and we watched a full season of Black Mirror. I'm sure you know what that is.
Uh-huh.
And and she's like, I have an idea. And she wrote it down, and we kind of fleshed it out over a couple of months. Over the next 2 months, we kind of like perfected it, a little 10-page script, sent it out to a bunch of people to see what they thought, rewrote it again and again, whatever. Finally got it, and we were like, okay, this is play day. We're going to produce this. And that was it. We dumped all of our heart and soul into it. We asked for a bunch of favors and went into massive debt. But that's how it goes in the film industry. But, hey, it was so worth it because our one goal was Shriekfest, and it got us there. And that just goes to show, like, if you put something out there and you also work towards it, you will have it. You will have this thing that you want. So that's our manifestation story. We wanted something, and we went out and got it.
I love it. I love it. And, okay, so she came out with this crazy idea, and when she told you, did you think, wait, what? Or were you like 100% on board?
As soon as she said it, I got the chills, and it's almost like a love at first sight sort of thing. She put it in my head, and I could see it all. I was like, oh, my gosh. This is it. And the story was so cool, too,
Yeah.
I don't want to blow it if anyone's seen it, but, if anyone hasn't seen it. But I was like, okay, we dropped everything. We had done a couple little films up to, practice up until this point, and I was like, okay, this is the one. We're going to go for this one big time. And that's that was the one we went for. And, no looking back, we jumped into it, and as soon as we were done filming, we were like, okay, well, we got something here. And then, months and months into post-production and trying to find the right CGI person because we had some trouble with the makeup on set. And, we had to do a bunch of fixing in post. It was a long, arduous process and learning. And then the CGI aspect, I had to learn that whole aspect of post-production I had never gone through before. So,
wow.
Definitely a very, very big learning experience all around, and I would never give it up for anything.
That's what I like to hear. Now, okay, so anything funny happen on set? Like, is there any crazy story you can tell us?
Crazy story. Well, Sophia was basically naked on set the whole time, which was kind of funny. Everyone was like, oh, my God, how is she so? Because, she had those prosthetics on, so it was almost like wearing a bathing suit. But at the same time, it was kind of like, what the hell? Anything crazy happen? Nothing crazy. We did go through 3 or 4 spiders getting away on the sink scene. And then eventually we let a whole bunch of spiders out into the backyard. We freed all the spiders that we used. So no spiders were hurt during the making of this film, for
sure.
Excellent. Nothing too crazy because, I do think one quote I like to live by is pre-pro is key pro. And if you do pre-production correctly, there should be no problems during the day of. But, this is Hollywood, and that never happens perfectly.
Right. Things always come up.
They always do.
So are you guys still doing film festivals, or what's going on with the film right now?
We only did a very select few films. Another thing I learned was, don't go to every single film festival there possibly is. Pick the ones that you want to go to and go after those big ones. So this year we went after yours and the North Hollywood Film Festival, which is where where we live.
Sure.
So
excellent.
That was pretty awesome.
So if people haven't seen it, is there a website or is there a place where they can see it?
Totally. It's up for viewing on bossmediagroupllc.com. There's a link right on the homepage. You can click it. That's our website homepage, BOSS Media Group LLC.com. And it's right up there along with a couple of our other horror films as well.
Excellent. And where can people find you? Can they mostly find you on there?
Yeah, you can email me straight from the website, or I'll just shoot out my email right now, Greg, Greg, at bossmediagroupllc.com. And then I'm always contactable on my Instagram, too, that has a whole bunch of work on it and up-to-date stuff. And that's at Greg_Mazz, M-A-Z-Z.
Excellent. And yes?
I was just going to say, I'm putting up content all the time on my Instagram, funny stuff, scary stuff, all the time. There's all good stuff out there, so go check it out for sure.
Excellent. Greg, you have some homework because you're not on Twitter.
Oh, I know.
You need to be.
Is that an important one? Because I've
yes,
just
I know it. I know
like
it sucks.
Ago, so.
Believe me, I know it sucks. All these stupid social media things, but that one is extremely important because it's going to allow you to help build your fan base, which is going to help you get money down the road when you can, show these producers, look how many fans I already have. They're just waiting for my next film. I think it's really, really important. So that's your homework. Get on there and start posting some things. And when you have cool things to post, make sure you at Shriekfest, and I'll help spread the word for you because I'm super excited about your talent, and I think it's something that everyone should know about. You've got a great eye, and I love the story that you tried for Shriekfest, and then you came back bigger and better, and I think that's a wonderful story.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm going to jump on Twitter. I think I have one, but I've never used it, so maybe I got to go jump on and relink it up and go post stuff. I'm on it. You've inspired me to Twitter.
Yay! And, I know that you've done you were talking earlier about the true crime TV and stuff. How is it working on shows like that? It's got to be, because here you're dealing with real stuff.
Yeah, so it's a whole different level of murder, if you will, because it's real. It's kind of weird. Actually, true crime has become my bread and butter. I started as a PA years ago, climbed up all the way to line producer as just in a specific crime niche. And I've worked on so many shows now, they kind of all blend together, but there's kind of a joke in our... Oh, it's they all have a murder name, too. Like, I could probably name it Crazy Love, Killer Kids, Murder Book, Killer Confessions, Unusual Suspects, Blood Relatives, Monster in My Family. Yeah, it could go on and on. But
they all sound like horror films, too.
But I was being interviewed to produce one show, and they were like, we do a bunch of horror films, too. How do you feel these go hand in hand? And I'm like, they go directly hand in hand because we're murdering people on set, and then we're creating monsters on set on my off time. So it was back and forth. It's kind of like a whole world of horror and murder. But I've since kind of also taken into some comedy to lighten my life a little bit because it did get pretty serious for a while.
I'm sure.
One thing is kind of weird, too, you kind of become numb to it. You'll joke and you'll be like, oh, wow, the girl killed her mom with a frying pan. Ha, 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 ha. But, these are people's real lives, and you have to maintain some sort of air of seriousness. But it does make you a little numb. It's a little weird, I'm not going to lie. But it pays the bills, and it's so hot right now, true crime. If there's a term for it. The Oxygen Channel, I think, is revamping their entire network to go true crime and try and get it back, lit up the other way because they were. Do
you feel like it gives you ideas as well?
Oh, totally. I'm working on actually films. Oh, absolutely. There's a potential for some of these crime stories to become just straight scripted horror films.
I'm sure.
Which is actually a show I was working on called Crazy Love. They took straight, shows, or we call it stories, and took the interviews out and just did a 50-minute scripted straight through. So it's coming, and that's good for horror. We had a great year for horror this year in the whole industry.
Yeah.
So it's getting bigger and bigger. Crime TV and horror films on the mainstream are definitely being boosted up. Good news for us.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, it really is. Okay, so you mentioned you had to do a lot of learning of like CGI stuff in post. Is that something you ever want to visit again? Was it that grueling, or do you think you can handle it easier?
I am way better off now with the knowledge. So
good.
I don't know if I'll do it directly, because I was literally the one in post going, okay, I have to export this file type, ProRes 422.
Oh my God.
And then I had to get the exact sizes, and I didn't know any of this, so I was learning it as I go. Now that I have the knowledge, I think I'll hire somebody to do this from now on.
Yeah, just hire someone. Why put yourself through that?
And that's kind of another thing I've learned too, is to not wear so many hats. Sometimes I feel like I had to do it because I have problems trusting people with the artistic. If I have the vision, I want to do it. I have trouble handing it off, which is something you have to do. You have to let the art department do their thing. You have to let the ADs do their thing. You have to let the wardrobe do their thing. You have to let it happen. And then, what was I going with this? Wearing too many hats, right? And then be kind of your creative can suffer if you're, if you are in too many directions. Like I produce and direct, so I'm thinking about the toilet paper and the snacks and the crafty, and I'm also thinking about the scene at hand and where the camera should be, and that's not really good. I should pick one of those. Right. So instead of worrying about the story in post, I was worrying about the technical specs of each shot, when maybe I should have hired someone to do that. So my recommendation would be, if you can't afford it for your films, spread out the work. Don't do it all yourself. I was the head of post-production, and I was the director, and I was the producer, and I was a PA carrying out the trash at the end of the day. It was sometimes it's too much. You got to take a step back, let it happen, and pick what you're supposed to be doing so that your creative does not suffer.
Great advice. Greg, thank you so much for coming on Shriekfest Radio, and thank you for being involved with Shriekfest.
Absolutely, and I will be coming back for years to come, so get ready.
Oh, I'm ready. I'm so ready.
Very good.
Well, thank you, Greg. And like I said, as soon as you need anything posted out there, please, if there's any news with Playday or anything else coming up, just tweet it at Shriekfest, and I will help spread the word for you.
Denise, thank you so much for that, and thank you for having me on. I had a great time, great interview. This was lovely.
Yes. Thank you. All right, you have a great rest of your evening, and tell Sophia I said hello as well.
I very much will. Have a great night.
Okay, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You are listening to Shriekfest Radio. Thank you guys for listening, and we will be back here next week with another awesome guest. So keep pursuing those goals. Write them down, break them down into tiny little baby steps, and then start working on them every day. You got to do a little bit every day to get you farther ahead. Super important. I mean, you could talk about it till you're blue in the face, but until you're actually doing it, nothing's going to happen. So write them down, break them down, and start doing them. All right, guys, have a great week, and I will see you back here next Thursday. All right, good night. You are listening to Shriekfest Radio. You are listening to Shriekfest Radio. You are listening to Shriekfest Radio.